Hello and welcome, I'm Mystical, this is Mystical Gaming, we're back in the Watcher Realms, and today I've been asked to go over gear plan, so that is what we're doing today. And I'll quick look at, so when you bring up your hero, go to gear, and then down on the bottom, sort of right underneath your three pieces of gear, you've got the Foundry and you've got quick change. So if we click on a quick change, it brings us up to the quick change menu, for want of a better description, and a couple of things going on here. So over on the far right hand side of the screen at the top we've got swap, and then there's another bit below it called plan, and then there's a big empty space. So maybe they're looking for future proofing this and there'll be some other tabs down there later. So we can go from swap, we can go to plan, and we can go back to swap, plan, swap, plan, swap. Right, there we go. So there's our two tabs. So let's start on the first one, swap. Nice and simple. Now it works from the hero you've selected. So we started with Sectram when we clicked on gear, so that's who it's on. If you wish for a different champion, and you would come down and you would select your champion, so let's Ingrid for example, and then we will be down to our quick change, and we will quick change for Ingrid. So there we are. Well, sorry, Idril. Well, blimey days calling her Ingrid. Right, so there she is. Now I want to swap her gear over with Ingrid, for example. So I'm just going to click onto Ingrid, and then we will see the changes. So up at the top of the screen, there's Idril there, and it's plus 4,653 BP. That's how much a BP is going to go up by. And then on the right-hand side of the screen over there, we can then see HP, attack, defense, attack speed will all go up, and then the other stats will go down, but they're the new stats she's got. So for example, I might want this build, so I am going to press OK, and I'm going to swap that gear over, and that gear goes straight onto Idril, and the Idril gear then goes onto Ingrid. So that's Idril with a new gear on. Now why would I want to do that? Now for example, let's just say for argument's sake, I've just recently cleared gear raid 3 number 19. So I've just done that and I want to push on. So I've now selected the best gear I've got available, and I put it on my Idril, and I'm now going to go on and tackle gear raid 3 number 20. So I could come over here, I can find my gear raid there, gear raid 3 here, here's stage 20 that I now want to clear because I've just done gear raid 19. And now I've got the best gear on I can find on my account. I put it on my Idril for example, and I've done that with the other champions I'm using. So I then go on and clear gear raid 20. Brilliant. So once I've cleared it, I then have this effect come up for me. So power dominance, yada yada yada, lots of blurb. There's the important bit. All stats now are 30%, or increased by plus 30%. That's brilliant. So I don't need that gear on this champion now. So I've now got this enabled, and I can come out of here. I can come over to my champion again. So I'm going to find my Idril. There she is. Now I could do it the other way around. I could go to Ingrid, it wouldn't make a great deal of difference. I select gear, I come to the quick change, I now find Ingrid again. There's Ingrid. I press OK, and I can swap her gear back. So now Idril's gear is back on as she was before. I can then come back out all the way over to my gear raid. I can now have a look at gear raid gear raid 3 stage 20. Now I've got my stats increased by 30%. Click on the auto, make sure it all functions all right, and I'm all good. And that's a nice quick way you can just boost your champion, have a little play to see how it goes, take it back out. And that is sort of the first way that you can sort of really use this gear planning to your advantage, just to help you push on those extra stages wherever you're looking. So here we are again, we selected Sectram, we select Sectram's gear. Now a couple of things we want to watch out for. So we're going to go into the quick change, and this time we're going to come down into the plan. So you can create any plans that you want to do. Now when you're on the plan tab, there are two separate parts. So we've got the Sectram bit just above us, we've got all his gear, there's his BP up there, and then it's got plan that we've got highlighted, and then we've also got another tab here, gear, and then we can highlight that, and then we can go back to plan, and so on and so forth. Right. So if I have a plan already laid out for him, I can just select it, and then I can confirm to equip. And then again, on the right hand side, I've got how all his stats will change. So that's another way around that you can do things. If you're looking at a bit more long term, what I would do is I select the champion that I'm happy with, and if I want to play around with their gear, see what sets are different, or see what sets work with them, they would actually come with the champion I'm happy with. I would select Save Plan, and then you get a new screen up. But then you've got this big plus button here. There's a plus, then name of the new plan. So my new plan, I'm not going to be too tricky about this. I'm going to call it SetRAM. I'm going to press OK, and there is my new plan is saved. So there it is, SetRAM, and then I can go a big tick here, and it says equipped. So that plan is equipped onto SetRAM, which is nice. So I can now go around and mess up his gear as much as I like, because I can always come back here and then put his gear on. So if I come out, and then let's unequip that, and let's unequip that, and we'll find this to equip on him. And then I've played around with this, and I've equipped this on him to see how it all went. In fact, I went full on Infernal Raw. I wanted to see how good an Infernal Raw set looked on him, so I found all the empty pieces of Infernal Raw that I had, and I put that on him and tried him out, and it was terrible. Didn't like it, didn't work. I got a lower score in my guild boss. It's terrible, didn't like it at all. But I can then just come back into the quick change. I can come to my plans. There's my SetRAM. I can select that, and I confirm to equip, and I can put that equipment straight back on it without any issues whatsoever. So that's the sort of plan function there. Now, the next tab along is gear. Now, we've a couple of things we do need to mention about this. We can now see all the gear that we've got, and as we select at the top, so if we select weapon or if we select breastplate, and that's the same with bangles and amulets and rings, all the bits underneath change as you select them, and you can see all the gear that you've rolled up and you've got about on your account. But you may not be able to. So something very important to notice is if we come out of this, and it's very strange this, I don't like the way this works. That's essentially it. This filter down here, these parts down here affect your gear plan when you go into it. So if we hide equipped, for example, and then come into the quick change, we come into the plan, we're up here, we will no longer see any equipped stuff. We only see the unequipped stuff. Now, it may be handy, but I just wish that functionality was on this page, not on a previous page. And the same goes while we're here, hide enchanted. So if you've got enchanted stuff as well, which you probably have, and we come to quick change and we go over here and we go to plan, we now only see stuff that isn't enchanted. Get off, thank you. Right, so that's all the stuff that we've got there. So just bear in mind, if you can't find any of your gear, the first thing you want to do is come down onto this filter and make sure these two boxes are unticked before you go in. So we're now back into the quick change mode, go into our plan, and then what would we like to plan for? That is something that we need to know. What I'm going to do is I'm going to select the gear, and then I've got some other tabs available for me. We've got select gear set, we've got primary attributes, secondary attributes, and select rarity. I quite like this, but it's pretty useless. I like having the option there. I think it's quite nice they've done it. I should imagine if you're coming through the game, it's quite handy, but it won't be too long before you're only here anyway, so all the rest are obsolete for you. So I don't know, it may be just curious then. I wonder, there we go, I found a use for it. Right, so I'm going to go in later and find these bits of gear, because there's 4 pieces of gear I can get rid of, which will give me four more pieces of gear that I can put on my gear storage. So there you go, there is a use for it. There we are. So, back to it. So if I want to, for example, I'm going to build up, who knows, let's say I want to put my SetRAM, and I want to put him now into Infernal Raw. So I'm going to get my primary set here, and then what am I looking for? Well, I want attack percentage on there, or I want crit damage set on my primary stats. On my secondary attributes, I will be happy with crit rate, and I'm happy with anything else. And then the only thing I haven't done here is I haven't selected the gear set. So I might want to put him in Infernal Raw, I might want to put him in Soul Bound Arcana, I might want to have both of them selected to see what there is. But for this scenario, I'm just going to look at Infernal Raw to see how we're going, and see if we can put him in an Infernal Raw set. That's my plan at the moment then. So I can select a piece here and go, well, this is good, it's got attack bonus, it's rolled really well, I knew it would because it was ancient, and we've got not only have we got crit rate, which is my minimum stat, I've got crit damage and attack speed as well, so I'm going to try that on. Now bear in mind, the first thing you're doing here is try on. Nothing is equipped at the moment there. Okay, you're only trying it on, and then on the right hand side you can see how it affects the stats. So attack has gone down, -80. Right, I now select from here, I now select the next piece of gear. Remember, you're not selecting all three, you're just selecting the one. So now I'm going to select the amulets. Now what amulets do I like here? Well, I've got two that aren't equipped. Now the advantage of this screen is you can see all your gear. It's not just the fully rolled up stuff, it's everything. So I have a look at this. It didn't roll up fantastically. Would it roll up? I don't know, I might. Unlikely I'd roll that up any further. I might just sell it. So are there champions here? And we can see the champions here that have got the gear fitted to them. Are there champions here that I'm not really using that often? Well, I might say, for example, well, I don't use Lasser that often and I can change him up, so I'm going to have a look at changing his gear later. I'm going to try that on as well. Now again, still remember, this is just a try on. So we can still see here on the second piece in from the left, we can still see a little icon of Lasser, and then on the gear selected we can still see Lasser's face there, so we still know it's attached to Lasser. Okay, that's the important thing. You're only trying it on, you haven't changed any gear from any of your champions yet. And then I come over to the last piece. Now I'm on the last piece and I've got attack percentage there, I've got attack percentage there, so ideally down here I would like some crit damage. And I haven't, what have I got crit damage wise? Well, I've got one piece here, but that's attached to my Nox, and I'd like to keep him done. And then where else have I got? I've got one piece here as well, and that hasn't rolled particularly well. So I might think, well, actually, I don't know what to do. Well, we can go, well, hang on, what pieces do we want there? Well, I'm gonna have a look for an insight piece. And have I got a good insight piece I can put on there? Again, no, not with crit damage. I haven't got. I've got this one here with crit rate, and that's got a high crit rate roll on it. It's got some rage regen on it, so I might want to try that on. Let's assume I try this on and I'm quite happy with it. I go, well, I'm good there, so I will save this set. Okay, and you can. There are two buttons at the bottom. Now you've gone through, you can either save the plan, or you can confirm to equip. Well, at the moment we have got Oracle's trial open and we are running Gear Rate 3. So I would only save a plan at the moment unless it came up really well for me. I'm going to save the plan. I'm going to wait until the end of the Oracle's trial, and I might come in again and have a look at my Infernal Raw set. So if I save this plan, again, I've got save new plan. Now I'm going to come up here and I'm just going to save that as Infernal Raw. That's my new plan saved, and that isn't equipped to anyone. You can still see here, this first piece not equipped to anyone, second piece is equipped to Lasser, and then I've got my inset piece afterwards. Now, why did I use the inset piece? Well, again, because if we come to the Foundry and Ascending gear, we now know that if we look for insight piece, we can convert this into Infernal Raw. So if you're missing a piece, you may want to think, well, which pieces do I think that I could upgrade? So which pieces do I think that don't fit the set at the moment, but I'm close to that set? And then you can have a look at it within the plan without actually having to fit anything. So I'm going to keep that at the moment. I'll carry on running my my Gear Rate 3 for the rest of the Oracle's trial, and when the Oracle's trial is finished, I will have a look and try and find out my best Infernal Raw set and my best Soulbound Arcana set. And then if you're doing Soulbound Arcana, remember that that's the Wisdom piece, and like the Wisdom piece, and assuming you've got the materials to do it, then you can swap that over to Soulbound Arcana. So it's a nice little way you can check to see, because you can see your champion, you can see the stats they're going to get, and the set will only give them additional stuff. It's not going to take anything away. So you can see that if you've hit the crit rate or not, or whether you've over-critted your hero by some margin or that sort of thing, or if you're aiming for a certain speed or you need a certain amount of rage regen, you can see all that within the plan without having to swap all the gear over, and you can quickly save it without too many issues. Now, you can reverse engineer this as well. So if I just get myself out of the way quickly, there we go. Right. So here we can see that I have got loads of Primitive Spirit. So if I look at the Primitive Spirit stuff, that is Night Terror, and I select a Night Terror piece, I would be able to create Ageless Wrath. So I can think about this beforehand and think, well, actually, I may wish to make an Ageless Wrath piece for someone. So when I come back out of this, I can come into my quick change, I can come into my plan, I can come back on the screen, which is always nice for you, obviously, because you do want to see my ugly mug. And then I can come over to gear, and then I can start looking again. So what gear pieces do I want? Well, I can either select Ageless Wrath straight off the bat, and then go, well, it's an attackive piece, so I want attack, I want crit damage, and then I want crit rate on it. And then I can see which pieces I've got. And I do not have much of it. And it's all crit damage. So you can have a quick look to see what you've got. So for example, I'm going to try on that piece. Again, this is all tried on. I haven't even rolled that piece up yet, so I don't know how it's going to roll. I'm assuming it's going to roll relatively well. And then I've got that piece there, and I'm going to try that on and try on there. So that is what I've got for my best Ageless Wrath piece. However, I might want to think that's a little bit too much. That's a bit heavy on the crit damage, because they're all crit damage rolls. And I may want attack percentage on that. So I'm going to remove that. I'm going to have attack percentage. I'm going to take this out, and then I'm going to put Night Terror up there and remove that. And I can then have a look at the Night Terror pieces I've got, and I can have a look to see how they would fit in. If I don't have any ancient Night Terror pieces, I've got one there. So I might want to say, well, actually, I'm going to try that piece on. And over here, this is the best one. Ooh. Let's try that on, and I would like to go for this as my Infernal Roar set, or my Ageless Wrath set, and I can save that as a plan. Save plan, Ageless to be, or whatever you want to call it, and that'll be my future Ageless Wrath place to be. You can see it still isn't equipped to anyone. You can still see that Helga's got that on, Calypso's got that on, and we can quite happily see who's got that gear on. And then you can go into the Foundry and say, well, actually, I want these pieces because I know they're going to roll up. So to start with, I would probably go away and roll that up to see how it rolled up. And then I can come back and check on the stats. So if I come over here, right, I will, there we are, there's our piece there, and I'm going to fully enchant now. We'll put that straight back up. There we are there. That's all that rolled up. Now when I select here, my stats have changed because it now knows that this is fully rolled up. So there's my stats now. So that's essentially how it works. And there's a lot you can do with this. I mean, there's no reason you can't make a plan up for Raid 3 stage 19, 20, 21, and you could have a set made up for the left hand side map, that AoE. So whether you're using a Maul, whether you're using Razak, whether you're using Nyx, something like that, you could have a set made up where you may want some rage regen on there to get that ultimate coming around nice and fast. You can make the setup here and go, well, actually, I'm using it on my Maul at the moment, but at the weekend I pulled Nyx, so I'm now going to swap that gear over, or as I progress further through the game. So you can make these little plans up, and that's essentially how it works. But if you're not using it at the moment, you absolutely should go in there just for when you're moving stuff around characters, champions, or when you want to push on in a new stage. So if you want to push on in a new stage, fit the best, just come over and at least use the swap function. I'm just going to swap and put my best gear on this person. That's my best Infernal Roar set. I'm going to put that on there and then see how we go. And at the end, occasionally, you may want to go, well, actually, I'm going to scrap all my champions. I'm going to start from scratch. And I'm going to go, they need to be in Infernal Roar. They need to be in Soulbound Arcana. And I use them most. So I'm going to start with set 1, set 2, set 3. And you can see how it goes for all your champions. You can start by saying, I'm going to make my best Infernal Roar, and then my second best, third best, and see how that goes for your champions when you want to push on and maybe the guild boss or something like that. Okay, right, so that's essentially how it works. And we've just gone over it because someone put down in the comments, can you take me through this? I saw you using it in a video, I didn't really understand how it works. Can you give us a bit of a showcase on how it works? So that's what we've done. So if you want anything else doing, someone else wants to go back over the Odyssey questline, so we'll do that as well. Maybe later on this week or beginning of next week, that will be out as well, and we'll do another complete run through it just to make sure everyone's got everything going for them and seeing how that goes, because there are new players coming into the game, and it's new for them as well. So we will run a new complete run of that as well. So if there's anything you want, just put down in the comments below and we'll see if we can get through to it. Right, thank you very much for your time. That's me done. I hope you found this helpful, and I'll see you in a video again soon. Cheers for your time. Goodbye.